We're really, really happy about that.
And who paid for that sign? Was that you guys or the Teachers
No,
Association?
the sign was, we relocated that sign because that was the one that was at the East Park light, where it was right behind the
Oh,
Stewart's
okay.
wall. And we really
all
felt
right.
like it was hidden there.
Yeah.
Maybe it hadn't been back then, but it was hidden there. So since we were doing that project, we asked the Teachers Association if, they wanted to have it moved. And so they were excellent, worked with a gentleman named Tim Daniels. A lot of collaboration on that project. We rehabbed the stone wall just south of the Golden Manor Motel. That was our latest project. The daffodils, the garden tour. My
Did you do
gosh.
any new pocket beds? Because Visual Environment maintains,
Yep.
along with the chamber, all the pocket beds at the end of the streets in the village. so-
Streets in the village.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And then you also, didn't you do a
I-
tree project?
The tree initiative,
Yeah.
we spearheaded that, and we kind of have been championing that. Again, that is completely, local citizens. You can purchase a tree for $300 for it to be purchased, planted, watered, and, we're trying to do those in the fall, because then they don't have to be, so meticulously watered every week. And we're working that in phases, and again, like, that's a really wonderful project, because that has really brought DOT, into visual environment, and I think that's been wonderful. We've been working with Chuck Walter and a bunch of other people on that. So that's going in phases, and that will, begin again, and we've decided that we kind of plant when we get about 12. When we get, the payment for 12 trees, then they go in the ground.
Is there a
So-
website somebody can see?
Yes, and help me out with it, I'm trying to think. Hyde Park, VEC.org, I believe.
Yep, and as you said, right now, I just received your membership letter, so your address is, in case anyone wanted to send a donation.
Absolutely,
or join.
P.O. Box 125, Hyde Park, New York. And that, absolutely, you could just, if you don't have a membership letter, you could just write a little personal note and pay your dues.
And are you looking for volunteers for different projects?
Always. We're taking some time right now to do a little bit of, visual environment housekeeping and work on our website and just kind of just do housekeeping. And then we're always looking for volunteers. We will do the spring cleanup along with the Chamber of Commerce in April. I'm not sure of that date. I think it's like the second Saturday in April. And we're always looking for volunteers. I mean, if anybody can feel free to contact me at my email address or at 229-5955 and get involved. It's a lot of fun. Most people have just found that it's a great way to be out with your community and meet your neighbors and meet new friends and serve the
And make Hyde
community.
Park beautiful.
Exactly.
So, all right, well, thank you so much. So do we have then a plan going forward for how to, good, all right, great, thank you. All right, well, thank you for this.
Thanks so much.
Yes,
I mean,
great,
you guys
yes.
Working together is great, wonderful, and thank you for it.
It is good.
Yeah, cash, right. All right, well, then we'll
We're going to
keep you
have
up-
visual environment and kind of be our consultant on picking out some colors for the house.
Oh, nice, good. And then we'll keep you apprised of the project and how it's going, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks,
Thanks.
Kathleen. Okay. And so you guys ready to go? Okay.
They're gonna bring the computer over here.
Presentation that Walt's going to give, and this is. I'm just going to turn so But I'll give everybody a full copy of that.
They
But
have
there's.
the mic, I don't know.
Oh, you did, okay, all right, so I just thought in case, Warren, could you just pass that to Emily, just,
That's fine. No, I'm good.
Dave, yeah, it's just Walt's report, too. Yeah.
Look
just-
at Mark?
Yes, it is, just, the front page was from Kathleen, and we don't probably need that, but. Oh, tap. You know what, just take the front page that I gave you and put it at the bottom of the pile. Okay. This is for the discussion with Walt.
Sorry.
Hi, how are you guys?
I'm doing well.
I'm good. Yes, good. Carrie and I just met, so maybe you want to introduce yourselves and let everyone know who you are and what you're doing?
Okay, I'm Carrie. I'm the chair of the CAC. And we just did a little, I don't know, review of what's going on with the transmission project, how it relates to the town residents.
Okay.
And I'm Amy Heater, and I'm no longer the chair of the CAC. I'm really glad that Carrie is here.
Thank you
to
for
see that.
stepping up, Carrie. Really appreciate that. And thank you for what you did, Amy. It's a lot of work, I know that. So thank you.
It's all good. Okay, so as I mentioned, that we're going to give an update. Can you hear me? I'm always
No,
terrible
you
with the
gotta talk
microphone.
loudly, yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, Herb's going to come up
I
and
know, I'm gonna yell
chastise
that,
you.
Yeah. So what Carrie and I did, we attended a couple meetings to get as many microphones in me as possible to understand about the New York State Public Service Commission transmission upgrade. So we attended, let's say we attended a citizens meeting. We attended a PSC, one of the PSC when they came to Poughkeepsie. We've been reading various things, et cetera. So this is just a summary of kind of our findings. So first off, what is this the commission transmission upgrade? Why, what, and why? So it is, and Carrie, please jump in when you want to speak.
Okay.
Okay. So it's for the purpose of it is for to increase the throughput of wattage through down to New York City. So there's a bottleneck here. Part of the reason also that has been cited, it's not real talked about, but is also was cited in the report, was a potential for decreasing the dependency on the Indian Point. All right. So that's sort of the proposals. I mean the why of it. The current proposals, although I think they're re-looking at what the current proposals, but at until the 20th, the proposals are, there's 4 potential proposals. There's 3 that go through Dutchess County and elsewhere, so further north, Transco, North American Transmission, and NEAT, and there's 1 located in Ulster County, Boundless Energy. And so the current proposals are above ground and could entail 165 feet wide corridor. And it would be the potential to annex property under eminent domain. So as I'm sure y'all have heard, it's not going over terribly well with property owners. And I think there is an interest. So these are the current proposals, but there is, because of, I think really the eminent domain has not been seen very favorably, looking at using existing right-of-way. So a lot of these would entail, 3 of these would entail new lines. One of them, the Ulster, is you would use the existing lines. So so that's all the proposals, and then we looked at, okay, well then how in specific would Hyde Park be impacted? So these are the proposals. This is a map that was provided by the PSC, Public Service Commission, and as of 12/6, all right? And so you can see that only the NEAT proposal, which is the green one, goes through Hyde Park. The roads impacted are Gretna Woods, Quaker Lane, Cary Drive, David Point, and Saul Point Turnpike, only aspects of those. So, and this is, I will say, so what PSC has provided is sort of this high-level map. What we got at one of the citizens meetings, which will give you a URL, we do have a map that talks about where it would go through Hyde Park, but it didn't come from the PSC, it didn't come from any of these proposals. It's more of looking at it, the way I understand it was done, kind of looking at it is, and looking at the parcel map. So I can't claim it's, really official, right? But the proposals were not specific, in part because that's also part of where they are in the process, but they're not very specific.
So the only 3 roads that are really in Hyde Park, that would be Quaker, Cary, and Salt Point. Bretton Woods.
Brentwood is not, okay,
Bretton Woods is Pleasant Valley, and so is David Drive.
okay. We, I drove, the reason I was late, somewhere I have a map, that we can, that we would leave here. I wasn't planning on showing it in
Yeah.
here, and it was highlighted as Hyde Park.
Gotcha, yeah.
Okay.
They're actually
Thank you for clarifying.
not a problem.
Thank you. Okay. So we can leave the map, and we can put it up someplace, and if folks want to come in and look at it, they can, right? So
Okay,
it's a little
that'd
bit
be
more
great.
blown up.
Thank you.
Sure. All right. So the review period, so as we talked about, they're not terribly specific. I would say they're in the, so they don't follow the seeker process. So it's sort of like in the scoping exercise is where they are now in my sort of seeker terminology. So these high-level proposals are out for public review period. This is the plan of record, right? So that the initial comments would be due 2/21, and then responsive comments to their comments would be due 3/21. However, it is expected that the comment period to be extended. I think it has been extended. The PSC meeting on 2/20, so in just a few days, they'll determine what the new comment period is going to be. So I couldn't, I can't tell you what that will be because that's in the meeting, as well as, I think most interestingly, a possible proposal scope change. So they may change, the initial proposals that went out, for instance, did not request for, underground lines or anything like that. And so this, perhaps what will happen during this is they'll change the scope of then what the bidding process could be. We do have the instructions for completing comments. I think the no monster power lines, I wouldn't call it, it certainly it's a citizens group and it's not in favor of these, but you can get really good information about how to, put in comments when they do announce what the comments are. And we have handouts that we can leave here as well that just really go through, how to find it, some more information on it, how to do the comments. In terms of what you can do, so Hyde Park could apply for intervenor funds. This is a way to fund for expert consultants, attorney representation, since it doesn't go through the seeker process. You can towns are encouraged to come together. You can apply for them jointly. Milan, Clinton, and others have applied. You can obtain party status through the party status is.
It just
more
like,
does it-
so a person can do it or a municipality can do it. The person actually has to be affected by, the proposed facility has to go through where they live, the property that they own, but it enables a person or a group to contribute more, you're really involved in the whole process. You submit testimony, briefs, formal written comments. You're very active in the proceedings.
So it's a way you can declare yourself through the PSC website. I believe that's how it is.
Oh, okay.
There's-
So if there was a resident that wanted to be party status, they would go to this website and it would describe how they could go ahead and register to do that?
Yes, I will
Okay.
say that the PSC website has been met with much dissatisfaction. I think you have to be persistent in.
Oh, so it's the PSC website where you would
PSC
have to go?
website, But the No Monster the handout that we have came from a citizens
Right.
group.
And does that have
they
a
help with-
link
they'll give
to
you
the?
instructions?
Okay,
yeah.
so that's, what is their website? Is that?
So you can join and leverage local groups. So No Monster Power Lines is the one that we have for the instructions.
Okay.
The Clinton Concerned Citizens is another group. Scenic Hudson. I mean, there's a plethora, I think, that are kind of joining together under it. So that's.
It's like,
That's really
is
what
it
we
a
have.
coalition or so? I've heard that referred to.
I've heard that referred to
Yeah,
as well. I think it's like a loosely defined.
So
But-
Scenic Hudson is on record as in opposition?
Mhm.
Okay. I had a conversation with Ron Hicks from the county, who indicated the county was also going to be formalizing their opposition.
And many towns have as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
You know, Clinton has, Milan has, I think, maybe even Pleasant Valley. I mean,
I think
it's-
Pleasant Valley, and I think they did the intervenor funds from the resolution I looked at. But that seems like a very complicated process, does it not, or?
That was my
Yeah.
sense as well. I mean, I
Yeah.
think it would be nice if towns could, kind of join together.
Mm-hmm.
And the main concerns are the visual impacts and the taking of people's lands.
Correct.
And the property value impact, right? Because of that, would you say that's the primary?
I would say so. I mean, and I think people have, and the problem is because right now there's 4 proposals. And the comments period is extending, so it's sort of is then by 4 in terms of the kind of the impacts of like, well, the limbo, current property limbo, the land value, but the land value also being in limbo. People at the groups have talked about, there are people in like Milan, for instance, yes, it was Milan, where they had, they've actually weren't able to sell their land.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think for an environmental impact, we have to sort of look at more about what the, understand more what is going to be the proposal. It's sort of, obviously if you're, you would be cutting off kind of corridors, but I think there's more detail required.
At what point would they be supplying that additional detail, do you think?
I believe that would be as part of their the phase B.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Is
but
that after the one is selected and then they would provide that, or no?
I think phase B goes, I can't say for sure, but
Okay.
I thought phase B would be still in the proposals.
Okay.
So,
Amy, did you say that they might be considering other technologies like underground or other configurations? I mean, it seems like, the goal of getting more power to the city is not a bad goal.
Right.
So it just,
there certainly has been from the meetings that I attended, that there, certainly that's what citizens are asking for.
Mhm.
The way that PSC had said back in December was, well, we always look for underground, that's part of our process, but the bids did not specifically request it. And so I think people were bringing up a great point of saying, well, why don't we kind of build that in the proposal period, as opposed to it just being an afterthought, and then when you're comparing pros and cons and the costs, making sure that that has a chance, I guess, of success.
Is your sense that if it were underground, there would be a lot less opposition or no opposition, or do you think it's primarily the visual aspect and that they'd also
eminent-
expanding the right of way?
The expanding it right away, I think.
And do you think people would object to that if it was underground?
with the width might not be.
The
Yeah.
width may not be
same.
the issue. There could be, I don't know how long something like that takes to
Mhm.
build, so there could still be an impact to people
Higher
then.
cost, probably.
Yeah.
Higher cost, I would think.
Is that realistic, given the geography of the area?
That is, the points that people make, and I think it's a really good point, is they're sort of saying,
Or
I don't know
geology,
if it's possible or it's not, but you haven't asked the question, right? And so I think that's what people are raising up, let's go at least investigate it and that's what part of what the intervenor funds are sort of for, is to make sure you have the expert witnesses for that. Anything?
And is there
We
any
have
upstate,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
is there any upstate benefit, or is it completely for Manhattan?
What I see was for their throughput.
Yeah, I think there is. I think it's there's like different bottlenecks and stuff in the grid, and I've read stuff that it's supposed to be better for adding different alternative energies to the grid and stuff like that, because I guess the way that it was designed, it was only designed for small areas, each individual area, when it was first put in, and it wasn't designed to travel long distances, and this should be designed to travel long distances so you could get from one end of the state to the next and add different sorts of energies to it instead of being so localized.
Well, and I think the advantage that really, like you said, hasn't been emphasized, but the potential to close Indian Point has some benefits, potential benefits to the community at large. I mean, it's a very old plant, and I think that there's some, questions about the safety of nuclear power, and so I think that there's some, that is a trade-off, and that's something that I think the governor is emphasizing in their exploration of the need to bring power down to the lower part of the Hudson Valley and Manhattan without relying on nuclear. So,
We're in sort of a, I'm sorry, just a kind of an unusual position in that such a small part of our town is actually affected. So I guess I'm wondering, Ken, if you've heard from folks over on that side of town.
I've actually heard from two on Quaker, one for and one against. So it's split right down the middle. One guy thought it was great. It would, bring in new jobs into the community, have more power coming through that he thought we needed. And the other purchased his property when the real estate market was really good. Now he's underwater, and now he's afraid with this power lines going through that he'll never be able to get out from, where he's at with that. So it's been 50-50. So I haven't, like I said, it's such a small sliver of our town that it's going through, but yet it means a great deal to all those residents that it is affecting. So that's what I've heard so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the town, if there's something we can do that would help those residents, that's what we should be thinking about, is the residents who are actually affected by it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to look at a lot of these things that are potentially controversial, is just to kind of give the residents the respect for their neighborhood. It's kind of the way I'm looking at it. I did attend the mayors and supervisors meeting last week, where we actually did vote on a resolution to oppose the power line expansion. And it's a kind of a little on the generic side, I suppose, and not necessarily on the specifics of it, but more in terms of emphasizing that we'd like to see make sure the natural beauty and scenic qualities of our valley are preserved. So that is on the agenda tonight, and I thought we would vote on it. Kind of, you guys can take a look. I don't know if you have any particular recommendation. I know that when I talked with you, you said there's a lot of information and a lot going on with it. So, and I think that, just having the information is a great service that you did, because it's very easy to not understand all that's going on. So thank you.
Our pleasure. Thank you for
Yeah,
having us.
that-
Did they mention the rates, the power rates, how they would be affected if I've heard something? If it isn't done,
That's a great question. At the PSC meeting, they did not talk about that. I know some of the citizens' comments were asking about, show us the need for this in terms of what's the projected, what is the problem that we're really trying to solve with this. The meeting was much more focused on the process of how to do comments, and so any kind of questions like that were said, well, we can't really answer them here. So this is a long way of saying it was not discussed in where I was. I don't know, Carrie, if you have any additional information about rates.
I don't really. If you check out like the New York Energy Highway Initiative, they say that the rates are gonna, go down, but I don't know, it's up to interpretation and see what really happens when it comes about. But that's another great website, is the New York Energy Highway Initiative. The PSC lists everything, like who applied for intervenor funds, who's involved, and who are the key players. And then any of these groups to join if you're looking for more information. Cena cuts in, and the No Monster Power Lines.
Okay.
So Carrie, is what you were getting, were you saying before about allowing more power to be moved greater distances, is the idea that you could do more wind power or hydro or other types of things upstate and then have a market for it downstate?
Yes, that's what the website for the Energy Initiative, the Energy Highway Initiative says.
That's great.
And this goes from Marcy to Pleasant Valley, is that? Does it go further south?
It's all over New York State.
Is
There's
it?
projects
Okay.
going
Pleasant Valley
on. Yeah.
there's a big substation.
There is.
Where they
It's
must
the-
then,
right.
yeah.
And so this is just a portion of it. It goes way up further north.
Right, you're right.
We could see it.
I thought it
Yeah.
started like around Marcy, New York or something.
it enables us to get cheaper hydroelectric power from Canada, really, doesn't it? These bigger lines. They
It-
produce it cheaper than we do, and our lines can't really hold it now.
Well, they always say it's gonna be cheaper, but
Well-
it never is.
It is cheaper in Canada, I know.
Yeah, but I'm saying, time it gets here, now, it won't be.
It trickles.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's lost in transmission in the smaller lines, right?
I think the longer, well, I think in general, this is going back to science classes, but I mean, the longer it travels, the more you're gonna lose something along the way. So,
And they can't use existing right-of-ways that they have now through the towns and the counties?
so that is a oft debated topic as well. So there are definitely proponents of the one that's in the red. That's the which one's that one's called? The boundless energy, right? There is, as I understand it, is that Central Hudson owns those lines, and that they you have to actually get their agreement to be able to use that. That's one of the issues there. The other issue was about whether they would be able to, the lines themselves being able to be useful. And then if the lines had to change, then is the whole infrastructure still able to be reused?
Yes.
So that's something people have lots of variety opinions on. So.
But the right-of-way is there.
The right of
They wouldn't have to
way.
use any new, they wouldn't have to grab people's property, in other words.
They wouldn't have to, they would, yeah, eminent domains appears to happen from, you can mandate from private citizens to being used for electricity highway, but if Central Hudson has it, I don't think you can mandate that it be used for a different purpose. I think Central Hudson has to, but I didn't really we didn't look too much into the legalities of it, but that's as I understand it.
Okay.
So just Ken, as the Ward 4 rep, do you have a sense that we should take an action on this, or?
I don't know if I really have a sense one way or another. It seems like, the county is going that way, the neighboring towns are going that way. And I guess I think we should follow their lead. I think if the county is going for that, and so are the towns around us, I'm concerned for those residents that their properties would be underwater. So I think we should probably take, I looked at the resolution, and it's not a bad resolution, and if something that we need to change, we can do that. But at this point, I think we should protect the residents and their properties at the moment until we get a better understanding of what's going on.
Okay. All right, well, thank you very much, Carrie and Amy. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for your work. Thank you so much.
You're
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so do you guys have one? Guys can- You want to get that one for you? Yeah. Yeah. Come on up, Walt. Ken, do you want to take one of those for you guys? Must be a little tired by now, Walt.
A little bit.
Yeah,
A little
little.
Take some coffee.
More coming, huh?
Yeah.
So they say.
I think that we're getting back for the year off that we had,
Yeah.
at least, yeah. So thanks for coming out, even though I know you've been up plowing for days on end. And, basically just kind of wanted to go over, what you do when you go plow. What do you do when it snows? What's the,
Thank you.
what's the system?
The system is, I get out of bed,
Now, did somebody call you first, or no?
not usually. Usually, I get up every hour, on the hour, from like 1:15 on. When I decide it's time to snow, I call, all the employees in. And then I call the police department to let them know we're coming to work, so there's a blotter entry of exactly
Oh, okay.
when we're coming to work. So when we get the calls that the trucks haven't been in a particular area, I have a time frame to work from.
Okay.
And then beginning of the year, we usually go out and salt first. Not so much now because it's so cold. And there's a residual from the magic salt that stays on the road, like not the storm last night, but the time before, we waited until there was about 4 or 5 inches of snow on the road before we went out to plow. And then I think we plowed at 4:30. Yeah, we were done by like 10 o'clock, and then we went out again later on in the afternoon because they were calling for freezing rain. And with freezing rain, you have to leave a little snow on the road, because if you go ahead and plow the snow and the freezing rain hits the road, it's like a ice skating rink out there. So. But, you know, no storm is like really the same all the time. I mean, my biggest concern in the way that I judge the things on is getting the kids back and forth to school. Like the next to last storm we had, I knew the kids were gonna be stuck in school because they couldn't get the early dismissal quick enough.
Right.
You know, so I called George Treadwell from Transportation. Him and I talk all the time during the winter. And I told him, I said, listen, I can't get the roads plowed before you want to send the kids home. So he decided to hold them in school a little while longer, and then, you know, everything kind of worked out pretty well, but.
Well, that's great that you
Yeah, we're in
coordinated that
constant,
closely, yeah.
And then there's always, you know, there's always the emergency services. Between the ambulances, the fire districts, and the roads always have to be passable. And, you know, in the bigger storms, you know, we don't leave. I think there's been twice this year where we've worked, I don't know, 26, 28, 30 hours or something like that. So,
Yeah,
you know, that's kind of, you know, everybody knew what the job was when they took it. You know, you don't like snow, you don't work for highway department.
that's for sure.
You know, I don't know what else to say, but back when there was all the talk about the development in Hyde Park, I was asked by the planning boards for the impacts on the highway department. So I put together how much salt per storm,
Oh, good.
and
Wow.
as you can see,
13,000.
it's almost $13,000.
And that's for your like your average storm?
Well,
or-
you know, when we first, you know, you go out and you put the salt down, you know, and then when you plow, you put the salt down. So there could be times where there's 3 or 4 times you're salting,
Wow.
you know?
Wow.
So about 13,000 for the average
route,
storm?
yeah.
Yeah,
Per
and,
round. Oh.
yeah, and,
Per route?
Per
No.
round.
round.
Per round,
Round,
yes,
round,
yes,
yeah.
yeah, sure.
yeah,
But that only,
3 times
sure,
per storm.
right, okay. And that doesn't include the overtime or any of the other aspects,
It's just material.
just the
yeah,
materials,
that's,
yeah.
you know, that's just material,
Yeah.
and, I put all the, plow routes and the mileage
Wow,
down for you.
thank
And
you.
the thing to remember when you look at these is, these aren't lane miles. So
Right.
if you double these totals, and then you add in all the huge dead ends on these roads, you know, these, you know, we're talking significant mileage that, you know, that they're plowing.
Ooh,
And with the salt, I know we have the new systems coming for the truck, which should help us with some savings in the future. Is is there a way for you to adjust the rate of salt going down for each storm, depending on the storm, or is it just, it is what it is?
No, I mean, they can adjust it in the truck, but it's more important than a dollar and cents type of thing. You know, at least that's the way I feel about it. We don't know what these new systems can do. We were given information from a salesman.
Well,
Now,
the county also has
Well, I
done their.
understand
thermal
that,
with it.
but I like the way my roads look at the end of a storm. You look at the roads in the town of Hyde Park, and you can see the blacktop and they're wet. You're not driving on snowpack roads.
Yeah, sure.
Now, there was a couple times, because a lot of other agencies don't spend the money for the treated salt, that they were driving on snow-packed roads where we weren't. So, I mean, I think that the magic salt, even though it's a little more expensive, is a far superior product. And I don't know that cutting down the amount of salt is gonna accomplish the way I want the roads to look. You know, and I said that right from the beginning. I mean, you know, we'll see what these,
Devices.
Sure.
what they accomplish, but I'm not willing to cut down on the salt and, you know, not have
Right, because,
my
you know,
roads the way they
oh,
are
I agree. I mean,
now.
the roads look wonderful. I agree, and I just hope that this system, you know, pays off, because there is areas where, you know, there is a lot of salt dumped in intersections sometimes. You know, I don't know if the truck is turning around, it's just sits there and dumps some, so hopefully this new system can save us a little
They
bit.
dump it there on purpose.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Absolutely. So it's tracked in and out of the intersection.
Gotcha.
So when they're coming to a stop, it's safer for them.
Gotcha.
Any news on the truck that we've ordered? Have you heard anything?
Rumor has it, it's gonna be at a dealership tomorrow.
Oh, really? Good.
But again, you know, like I said, when we ordered it, you know, we've been almost the whole winter without it.
Has
So
it been difficult?
It's been very difficult, and we've also had a truck sitting in the shop for over a month. So if you look at, and unfortunately, this was all the first ward, if you look at truck 107 and 110, for most of the winter, those two routes were combined.
Oh, okay.
So they had to do truck 110's route first, which is 7.6 miles. And then they had to go up into 107's route, which is 11, you know, .1 miles. So, you know, the people who live up in, you know, 107 route, they didn't get service very quickly. So it's been a very big struggle this winter.
Is there an ETA on when that will be out of the shop?
Well, we just got it back. We've had it for 2 storms.
Okay.
But, you know, that's unfortunately the situation we're in. We don't have any spare trucks. The one truck we're using to try to help us get through is 20 years old. And it's just been a miracle that thing's made it through, but.
So when we get the new truck, we'll have one spare to use when others are
We will,
not operating?
when something's
Okay.
broke down, yeah.
Right, oh, that's good.
That's the plan, and I've acquired an old sander that we're fabricating, and we're gonna try to repair so that, you know, we have a spare sander also,
Great.
so.
We appreciate the cobbling
I know.
together of equipment. I mean,
know.
I know it's a lot of pressure on you because you're the man who's got to produce, and living within the 2% tax cap, it's been difficult. So appreciate that, Walt.
And then, and just while you're talking about that, previously, you know, the salt budget was 300,000.
Yeah.
Now I get, you know, what they
Jeez.
were trying to do, setting up the contingency fund and all that, but, you know, it dropped down to 200,000. Now, this December, we had to order 1,300 ton of salt. You know, so that's half of my 3,000 minimum requirement. You know, so whatever probably was in the contingency was done by December. And, you know, and I'm sure that we're over we're over budget for wingmen and
Yeah.
overtime and everything else. You know, it's been a tough winter.
Do you know what the current amount in the salt budget is?
Do I know how,
Do you know what's left?
Yeah.
You mean, I don't know what's left. We'll know.
35,000
Is left.
Okay.
is left.
And then, do you know what's left in the contingency?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. We can
Yeah.
take a look at that.
And Mr. Carey is.
Not the contingency, but the reserve.
Reserve.
Don't know that
I
either.
don't know either.
No.
But they'll be finishing up the monthly report in the next couple weeks, so we should have a good feel for
But I
that
mean, they're
then.
gonna have to put money in there because
Yep.
I just ordered 500 ton, and I think we have enough for 200 or 300 ton, and then we're shot.
Yeah.
So,
And we,
And I want to thank you, Walt, though, for doing the sidewalks. We had a little snafu with the snow blowing equipment, so Walt had to go out
Yeah.
and get additional equipment so that we could clear the massive amounts of snow on the sidewalks on Route 9, which we are, actually, it's only there's a small section that the town is responsible for, is it from Mansion to Commer?
yeah,
And then the property owners are responsible for all the other parts, but Dutchess County required, or the DOT, when the sidewalks were put in, that was part of the agreement that the town would maintain that. So Walt's had equipment out there for the last couple days, equipment and people trying to clear they're difficult sidewalks too, because they're right up, chock-a-block up on the highway, so they get the entire,
You get everything.
everything from that's pushed
And they're
aside.
right along those historic
Stone
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 walls.
walls.
Yeah, they
We're
are.
not gonna budge.
Another expense, but hey, we've got visual environment to take care of the stone walls,
We
so
do,
we'll take
yes.
care of the snow.
And then just, another thing on these salt totals, I don't really track what we put down in the town hall and the police department,
Right,
but we, basically during a snowstorm, we're doing the police station 3 or 4 times to keep that open. And probably the same,
Yeah.
for over here. And then we have the shared service agreement with Statsburg Fire District, where we plow and salt their parking lots. And then, we sell it to the school district, so, a lot of people are using our salt.
Are the other fire departments responsible for their own salt?
They are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Statsburg Fire District is the only one that contacted the
Thank you.
town about it.
Do we do the water plant?
No, they do their own.
Okay.
Yep.
okay, and then I gave everyone, Walt did a really nice report for what he did last year, just his end-of-year report, and he also did one, he's doing a monthly, so we kind of, I gave that to you just a few minutes back, yeah. So it's just good to, the highway's one of our biggest expenses, so it's good to be informed, and I thank you for giving us that information, Walt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anyone has any questions, but, it's a lot of drainage, paving, trees, guide rails,
Wow.
lights and electric. He does a lot for us at Town Hall, so
Yeah.
it's,
I just want to make sure everybody knows that the drainage that was done last year was what I had left over from the previous year because,
your materials, you mean?
yeah, the materials, because we agreed to stay below the tax cap by not funding drainage, which,
Yeah.
maybe we'll have a discussion about that at a later
We are
date.
going to have a discussion
Yeah.
about that. I've talked to the comptroller, and, we know that we've been deferring some projects that you have in mind, and I'd like to have another workshop where we kind of prioritize, or you review your priorities with us and kind of discuss how we're going to get those funds, and, because it's been 2 years since we put any,
Yes.
yeah. So we'll continue to work on that
Okay.
then, Walt.
Yeah, good.
Okay, anybody have any questions, or? No? Okay. Thanks, Walt.
Okay? Yep.
Thanks, Walt.
Look this over before I have questions.
Do you guys want to go up on the day?
We're fine here.
I think so, right?
which ward, and also the, sure, yeah, and that person who runs that ward is Ken Schneider, so, hi. Nice to meet you. So yeah, I just want to let you know that we're here, we're working a lot on this issue, and, have a lot of efforts.
Okay.
But yeah, just want to let you know I was here.
So, if residents wanted to contact Dee Dee to express their concerns or get an update, how would they do that?
Easiest way would be to just email the Assemblywoman.
And what's
I-
her email address?
It's just her last name and first initial, Barrett D at assembly.state.ny.us. I have some business cards I can leave with you if you'd like.
Okay, Yeah, thank you for coming. Yeah, so I know this is a priority for Assemblywoman Barrett, so appreciate you stopping by. And again, if residents want to contact Dee Dee and express their concerns, she probably is, they're able to find her on is there a website for
Yeah.
the State Assembly? Or?
If you just look up New York State Assembly member Dee Dee
Okay.
Barrett, all the contact information is there. I'd recommend contacting the Poughkeepsie District Office, which is where I work, and if they feel more comfortable working by phone, and if anyone has issues with submitting public comments onto the PSC website, they can get in touch with us because we have a liaison in the PSC that can assist them.
Wonderful.
Who actually makes the final decision on where these power lines are going? Do you know? Is it Dee Dee's, Dee Dee and the legislature up there? Is it our Senator Terry Gibson? Who has the final
It's
say
the Public
on?
Service
Yeah.
Commission.
Is it the public service?
Yeah, it's the way that the process is working is kind of like ever changing. It's been shaping as it goes. Nothing's set in stone. So all the lines that are put on paper right now, we don't know which houses they're going through at this point. And also, as Amy told me, she explained in her presentation on February 20th, the PSC will be exploring whether it wants to modify its proposals, because before when the Energy Highway project was put in place, it was put to figure out ways to meet the energy demand. On February 20th, they're going to address if they want to modify it to address the need to reduce the demand, which means encouraging renewables into the proposals, such as solar energy can be better technology that's out there. I know that a lot of the proposals are using pretty old, antiquate technology from, like Thomas Edison era.
That is old.
Boundless Energy has, in my opinion, the most advanced, but even when we did research about their proposal and we visited one of their presentations where they had their engineer speaking with us, or in like a town hall meeting in Clinton, they explained that their technology has been around for 10 years. So there needs to be a push with the PSC to further that. So that's what we're hoping will happen on February 20th.
Does our Assemblywoman have an opinion on the lines for or against?
She does not want the lines to destroy the beautiful vistas of Dutchess County, Columbia County, anything in her district in the Hudson Valley, because we're becoming, incredibly reliant on our tourism in this area, and we don't want our residents and their properties to be devalued. We're having an issue right now where a constituent can't even sell their home because the property value is already dropped. So we're aware of how this is affecting us now,
Okay.
and that's what we're focusing on, telling the governor and the PSC that this isn't just something that's going to affect the future. It's affecting us right now and our residents.
Great.
Thank you very much.
No
for
problem.
coming
What was
down.
the phone number of the Poughkeepsie office, if any? This is
It-
televised, so people might be watching who
Cool.
want to
Okay.
call tomorrow.
It's 845-454-1703.
Thanks.
Okay.
No problem.
All right. Thanks so much for coming. Let's see.
That's cool. It's televised.
You're a TV star now.
I wish Unionville would do that. That's where I live.
It's on YouTube, too.
Yeah.
They don't do that? They don't know?
No, they don't even make the meeting notes available, I don't think.
Oh.
Yeah, there's controversy over
Uh-oh.
that. Maybe I shouldn't say that televised.
Well, we don't want to know about any other towns.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
Just
thank
like
you so
we
much.
keep our heads
Thank
down,
you.
we just want to know about Hyde Park. Thanks so much. It was
Thank
good,
you.
No
good to
problem.
see you.
Thanks.
Okay. All right, so do you guys want to go ahead and start our updates?
Sure.
Something that we started last year, and then we do it and then we forget, but it's kind of nice to just let all the constituents know the things that we're working on, and actually each other. So it's a good opportunity. I usually go first, but I'm going to let someone, start with Ward 1.
All right.
Prestigious Ward 1.
Ward 1. We have the best sledding hills in Ward 1.
I have to concur. I used them the other day.
So I'll just go through a few things that I've been up to lately. Been contacted by some residents and helped some residents with issues, with some water issues after our discussion of the speed limit and the crosswalks potentially on South Cross Road. I had a couple comments from residents about that, mainly to the effect that if we're going to reduce the speed limit, we should also make sure we have some enforcement of the speed limit to make sure that it's actually effective. I continue to work with our Andy Learn and Pete Taro on the Statsburg flood mitigation project. We have a draft of that report now and we're finalizing it. So once that's finalized with New York State Parks, we're going to have a public meeting to go over the flood mitigation recommendations, which are basically to build some ponds within the golf course to capture stormwater and reduce the flow into the hamlet of Statsburg. Continuing to work on that troublesome East Market Street sidewalk project, but it's coming along. Had some good meetings with DOT, with the supervisor about the inventory that they're working on for the Route 9 corridor, and they're going to start doing some potential plans for us about where we could put parking, sidewalks, other pedestrian amenities, and try to improve the Route 9 corridor going along with the CHIP efforts that we've been doing. We've also had some good meetings about potentially putting in some bus shelters at our bus stops, try to make the bus system more user-friendly and encourage more use of that. Meeting about drainage district formation. Had a good meeting with Hannah to turn over some information about the Fallkill and the flooding issues in the Roosevelt Road area. I also attended the Hudson River Valley Greenway meeting, which we're lucky that those take place right here in Hyde Park. So got to welcome people to Hyde Park. Continue to attend the Poughkeepsie Dutchess County Transportation Council meetings. And I also was had the honor of serving as deputy supervisor while the supervisor was on vacation, and thankfully nothing bad happened. So
And you did a
that's what I've been
wonderful
up
job.
to.
It was great because you prevented anything bad from happening.
Yeah, I was lucky.
So same things.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hard work, I know. How about you, Dave? What did?
I have done nothing.
Oh.
No, I'm-
Yeah, right.
No, we
I know
went
that's
to,
not true.
the, Hannah and I both went to the New York State town, I don't know what they call it, town.
New
association.
elected officials.
Newly elected officials, yeah, seminar up in Albany, which is very interesting. Did 3 days, I think I made 2 days out of the 3, I made the third day. A lot of information, to digest, and I've only been here a month, but, so what I've been focused on is emails or phone calls that I get from the citizens in my ward, and I've had quite a few. The first one we had was because of the icy roads, and I live in the development that the complaint came from. And I know the day that the person was talking about, and I had no trouble. That fine mist was falling, and it was, the air temperature was like 20 or 18 or something. And Walt, as I mentioned, came through there twice that day, and, they were plowed and salted, but the mist was so fine and the air so cold that it created ice right over the top of it. And a couple spots were icy, but he did it twice. And I responded to the person that was the case. She thought he was lying, I didn't, so that's, my road was okay and I didn't have an accident. I could see where it was a little slippery, but it was done very well. The roads are good, my road was fine, so, it's the same road. Another issue I had.
Different expectations, don't they?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know if she wanted to scrape bear or what, but it wasn't gonna happen. It was not a nice day, and it was very cold, bitterly cold. I didn't feel like going to work either. Another complaint I had, not a complaint, yeah, it was about property maintenance and how we go about it in our neighborhood, specifically in my neighborhood. There was one house that's it's been on this one person's mind to do something about it. So I talked to Tad, and we're gonna sit down with her and have a meeting with this other citizen to see if there's any violations or how we go about it. And it's been an ongoing thing, but it's interesting, seeing how the process works and who you have to work with, you know, and that's what I'm learning. Another complaint I had, and I complaint was a complaint, was over in Pine Brook in the water sewer district, the sewer. Something happened, I guess, to a fan attached to a motor that has to run 24/7. And one of the residents there, who lives very close to the pump house, or it's not a pump house, it's a sewer running plant, and can hear it inside his house. And I went in, and with the windows closed, I could hear it. And they have a 6-week-old baby, so this Mr. Mike O'Dowd is who called me. He has a legitimate complaint, so I got a hold of Pete, who acted on it right away, and also Dale. And they've been looking at it, and they've come up with some possible solutions, and they've been very good. And he was very happy that everybody responded so well. Mr. Maybe also. So that went good. If we do something about it, if we don't, maybe he'll complain more, but working on that. The other issue was, Bill Ring called me, and he's the chairman of the Stonewall, Hyde Park Visual Environment Stonewall chairman. And a car, I guess, damaged the wall down the road, a lot of damage. And he was interested in possibly if the person's vehicular automobile insurance would cover that, you know, for property damage, and who would get the money and all that. So a whole big discussion has started over that. A lot of emails have gone back between you, Hillary, who was here, and so they're looking into that. So if we can get some funds from, and even the police, they really don't have a procedure, I guess, but it's been done in the past by Mr. Delarme, got some money, so it's possible, you know. There's a lot of damage done and a lot of work, so those stone walls, which I love.
Do you know which wall it was? Was it the National Park Service wall?
No, it was on the other side, I think. It was on
Is it-
where the sign, they put the sign up down in that area. Wasn't National Park. I'm pretty sure.
Golden Manor. But, yeah, we had a bit of a discussion on it, and Warren's input. Do you want to give your input
Well,
on it?
we haven't resolved the issue. We'll talk about it further. I mean, I see no reason why we can't put in a claim for the insurance and see what happens. But who actually owns the stone wall is
Well, that was
a
the
very
kind of the
complex issue.
The chief's opinion was that it's hard if you have to have an ownership interest in order to pursue an insurance claim.
Well, probably, but we have more than, we do have more of a proprietary interest in those walls, so it might be something that we can, I suggest that we pursue filing the claim, and if it gets rejected, it gets rejected.
do
But we'll
the-
talk about it.
Okay.
It's something I want to talk about on Thursday when
Okay.
we get together.
Sounds good.
I think the state said the DOT doesn't have anything to do with them.
Well, it all depends on where they're located.
Well,
you know,
they didn't say they don't have anything to do with, when we spoke with them, they said they used to pursue them. They just don't have the staffing to do that any longer. But they used to have a whole department who pursued claims against vehicle, drivers who damaged, even, guardrails and that type of thing. But, so, the Sandra Jobson from DOT said it might be something the town can pursue.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if it's within the DOT
It is in the-
ownership,
yeah.
I mean, that's not a right of way. They actually
Own it.
have the 50-foot. That would be their property, and so that could be done. I remember dealing with a case up in Rhinebeck where a property owner's historic stone wall was injured, and the town couldn't do anything about it, so the property owner had to restore it. So
Well, that's why,
complex issues.
that's why I asked if it was a National Park Service wall, they could possibly do it,
Yeah, I would
right?
think so.
Yeah, so,
But anyway, let's
yeah, we'll
put
pursue
that
that.
on our
Yep,
agenda for Thursday.
okay.
Right. The last item I had was a resident down, Mr. Ron Hicks down on Riverview Circle. I think he called you, Aileen, too. House right across the street from his, it's a residential, it's a quiet residential area. It was sold, and the person who owns it now rented it out to 4 college students. So he wanted to know if there was anything in the town code to prevent somebody from doing that, having a bunch of college kids come in there. And he was worried about the quality of the neighborhood, the cars, the traffic, the noise, all this stuff. And so I sent an email to Warren, and he looked into it. We don't have anything, I guess, it's up for discussion, but we'd have to have a town-wide, more complaint that way. Police would have to say if it is a complaint, or zoning and building would have to look into it to see if there really is a problem, because there's no restriction on me, like me, from doing that also in my neighborhood right up down here. So I told Ron that, we would look into it and see what could be, if there was anything, and it's also a definition of family, what consists of a family unit. It's pretty complex, what I see, so I told Ron we'd work on it and bring it up, but
Okay.
sure it is.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ken or Hannah? I was sure you can, sure.
Yeah, so as Councilman Ray said, we went up to the New York Association of Towns newly elected officials training school for 3 days, where we got to talk with comptrollers and attorneys and town board members from across all of New York State on a wide range of very informative issues concerning how to go about being a town board member. I also attended the Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce's monthly breakfast with Councilman Schneider and our supervisor. And I also had the honor while you were away of representing the town at President Roosevelt's birthday ceremony over at the FDR Library, which was very exciting.
Nice.
And cold. But the president himself sent a wreath, which was
Wow.
2 times the size of ours, sadly.
Wow. That hadn't happened in the other times that I've been there, so
yeah.
that was
That's
nice.
neat.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I forget it was like a colonel that presented it for
Oh,
the
nice.
president,
Wow.
but he was very official. And I've, outside of the sort of public sphere, I've been working with the Recreation Department on the Summer Music in the Park series, which Councilman Schneider is also very involved in. And I've been working with our town police department and our town highway superintendent on safety issues for roads in Ward 3, based on some comments from our constituents here. I've been getting up to date on all of the Greenbush water district information, learning what I can and attending those new meetings based on our new readings, and working on that issue, which clearly everyone at this table has been working on. And I think apart from the meetings we've had with the town engineer, that about sums it up, besides emails and phone calls from constituents.
Thanks, Hannah.
Great. I met with the town engineer and VRI about some issues up in Greenfields. We seem to be having many up there at the moment, so it was nice meeting with Pete and VRI about some of those issues. I also met with Pete again and the controller's office and VRI about some of the rates that have been charged to some of the districts, and we are looking over each invoice with a fine-tooth comb and disputing some, and so we're working on that. I met Pete on a Saturday morning at a constituent's house about some flooding issues in front of his driveway. I met with Walt Doyle about some road conditions and some equipment needs, and going to set up some bi-weekly meetings per month to assist Walt with any of the needs he has over at the highway garage. I also met with Kathleen Davis and the Rec Commission about some past and future events that we thought would be good for future events, and what worked and what didn't work in the past. I'm happy to say I met with Roundup Savings and secured $1,500 for the sponsorship of our 4th of July parade,
Nice work.
and received a check from them already. I also met with Rhinebeck Bank today and secured another $3,000 for sponsorship for the Music in the Park series, so I'm excited about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Attended the Hyde Park Chamber breakfast meeting, and that's something that Supervisor, myself, and Councilwoman Hannah here did this past month, but I try doing that once a month, and it really gives me a heartbeat of what's going on in Hyde Park, and that's always a fun meeting to attend. I also attended the Dutchess County Chamber Gala in Poughkeepsie, the Greater Dutchess County Chamber, just to, get Hyde Park, out there and do some networking. I also met with the supervisor, Todd Tancredi, from the town of Poughkeepsie, to see how our shared grant is progressing for the salt disbursement on the trucks for the highway garage. Answered many emails from residents. I also spoke with the Disc Golf Association about the baskets we're going to be installing this year at Hackett and Beck Parks. We're going to be installing 2 18-hole disc golf at the parks this year. And then also met with Dutchess County DPW on road safety issues that we have on North Quaker. They're actually doing a whole study, and I met with them. And then, of course, I always try to meet with the supervisor on a weekly basis just to get caught up on any issues that are going on in Hyde Park. So that's what I've been doing.
Wow, thank you.
Ken?
As you probably have observed, I'm often engaged with all of you on the different things, and I definitely appreciate all your help and leadership on that. So one of the things that I started off the month with is renegotiating the numerous contracts that we had, including our labor attorney, our traffic prosecutor, our dog control. So meeting with our new people, and that was interesting. And I'm feeling good about the people that we have in those positions, and feeling good about the money that we've saved. I also met and negotiated a number of union contracts, one for the town hall employees, and that was an interesting experience, and we're glad to have worked through that and been able to come up with something you'll see tonight, a memorandum of agreement. I spoke to the government classes at FDR, and that was really fun for me because I graduated from FDR, as did 2 of my 3 children, and my dad was a guidance counselor there, so it was good to be back there, and found it really fun to talk to the students and see how engaged they are, and it was very interesting to get their feedback. I met with the Fairview Fire Chief, Chris Mader, had several discussions with him on zoning matters regarding rental units, which is something that Dave is working on, and kind of addressed a request for a zoning revision to limit the number of unrelated people, residents who occupy homes. Warren has done a memo on that, and we've had a lot of discussions on it. There's still information we are digesting, but it's a complex issue. It's a constitutional issue. It's an issue as to how rampant this problem is. It's a property rights issue. So one of the things I think people have to know about us is that we take our time exploring things, and we're careful, and I think that's the right way to be, and I don't just jump when people ask me to. So that's something that we're continuing to explore. I attended the mayors and supervisors meetings a couple times, and again found those very interesting. Meet with the town attorney, the zoning prosecutor, the zoning administrator to coordinate a strategy to pursue a number of violations, a number of important property violations, and we're kind of coordinating an effort on how to go about those. We have Jonathan Churns here from Dutchess County Water and Wastewater Authority, our star unpaid employee, and he's here, and I meet with him almost daily, it seems, but we've worked very carefully with together on the water and sewer grant consolidations, and that's why Jonathan's here. We reviewed proposals from a number of engineers. We met with the engineers. We held a reorganization study committee meeting to bring those advisories committee members up to speed and gather their input. We met with VRI, the town comptroller, the town engineer to review the work being performed by VRI in the water and sewer districts. I met with the new town board members to inform them on the THM issue that exists and continue to put together advisories and come up with better flushing plans, see if we can coordinate our flushing with the town of Poughkeepsie. I met with the Department of Health to also work on a revised coordinated flushing plan. I met with a couple of local business owners who wanted to talk to me about how we can promote tourism in Hyde Park. was interesting discussion. I attended the Hyde Park Historical Society luncheon, met with the new town historian, Carol Cohan, who's going to be bringing a lot to the table and already has. Got some really great ideas, and I'm excited to work with her. Met with a number of property owners and the town engineer for the CDBG sidewalk grants that we are working on. There's multiple ones, and so we're have to establish some ownership and that type of thing. Attended the Hyde Park Chamber breakfast and installation dinner. I've met with several developers and permitting agencies on various projects that are in various stages of development. Met with Dutchess County Planning and Development and the Loop Bus officials, as Emily said, to try to brainstorm where the best locations for these bus shelters that we've got envisioned, where those would be, and kind of formulating a plan whereby they could serve both local residents and tourism. So we're pretty excited about that. Also, as Emily said, met with DOT to discuss the preparation of our concept plan for the streetscape improvements. And this is kind of an outgrowth of the CHIP process that we started when we first came into office, and that's one of the things that we came up with through that process as to how we can support economic redevelopment. And so we'll be, the DOT is preparing these documents for us, and then towards the end of March, we'll be holding public meetings to gather people's input and really finalize this plan. We're still plugging along on this Municity grant, and finally, we have contracted with human resource consultants to do a salary study for 9 positions in Town Hall. And so I've been meeting with them to develop the protocol for how we go forward. So that's what we've been doing for this month. So I think it's time to go ahead with our resolutions, although I should ask if there's anyone in the public who would like to come up and comment. Oh, okay. On any of the resolutions before us. And I also need a motion to add resolution number 23.
Make a motion.
Second?
That's the resolution authorizing the attorney to the town to execute a consent judgment and settlement of the tax certiorari proceedings entitled PLT Associates, LLC versus Town of Hyde Park. Then we had a first and second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So would anyone like to come up and comment on any of the resolutions before us? Or any, yeah, or any other matter? Okay.
Are we going to do public and resolution comments?
Yes, we are, but I don't, okay. All right, so it doesn't appear like there's any speakers tonight, so let's just move on to the resolutions.
Resolution 210-1. Oh. Maybe flip back. Back that way. Resolution 210-1 of 2014. Resolution approving a memorandum of agreement in connection with collective bargaining negotiations with the Hyde Park CSEA Town Hall Unit.
Second.
Yep. Oh, no, that's,
Okay,
wait,
David doesn't have it?
No,
no, that's a different one.
no, that's it. I don't have that one.
Yeah, why are yours numbered
Oh, I
differently?
know why.
Oh, but get the new set. Yeah, there you
I
go.
had the
I
old.
got them from home.
Okay.
There
Sorry
you go.
about that.
That's okay.
Yeah, because they changed the numbering. That's why we're confused. When we get them in advance,
Okay.
they're one set, and then
Okay, you
when
ready?
they come tonight, they're different.
Okay. So do we have a second?
I second it.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There should be 2.
Yeah, this is the power
That's
line
it.
one. Now, there you go.
We're gonna vote on the power line. Resolution expressing opposition to the power line expansion in Dutchess County.
Okay, do we need any discussion on this?
No.
Okay,
I'll
do we have a
second.
second? And all in favor?
Aye.
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 To clarify
Yeah,
the heading of the resolution is a little bit stronger than the
Yes.
the
Yes,
body.
it
The
is.
body
It's
is.
Yeah.
it's really expressing concern
Concern,
about,
yes.
so
Yeah.
just want everybody to realize that, okay.
And it sounds like it's still an ongoing process, and there will be more
right.
iterations.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what the new
Yeah.
proposal will be. Shall we go on? Resolution 210-3 of 2014, resolution authorizing the town justice, David Steinberg, to attend the Association of Towns 2014 Judicial Training Program, February 17th through 18th, 2014.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 210-4, 2014, resolution authorizing police officer Sean Phillips and Detective Jason Rizzullo to attend search warrant training in Westchester, New York on March 5th and 6th, 2014.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 210-5 of 2014, resolution authorizing the supervisor to execute the necessary documentation to extend the 2011 to 12 local government efficiency grants for a period of 1 year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, by the time we actually got the grants, they're almost
you're
ready to
in.
expire.
You're in,
so-
yeah.
Resolution 210-6, resolution authorizing the supervisor to execute professional services agreements with T&B Engineering to provide professional consultant services in conjunction with the study regarding the possible dissolution of the existing town's water and sewer districts and transferring ownership and management responsibilities of the same to the Dutchess County Water and Wastewater Authority.
I'll second it.
And
Did we want to say a little bit about why we picked?
Yeah, I think this was just described by,
Jonathan, would you like?
I was thinking.
We've been working with Jonathan's fabulous help on these contracts, and we have them now in the form, except for a couple of typos or changes that I haven't even looked at yet, but they're very, so
wow.
now we have these. So, I'm gonna leave these, this is a full set, I'm gonna take these and just review them, and I'll have you sign them on
Okay,
Thursday.
We'll get rid of these.
Okay.
Those are the, yeah. So yeah, Jonathan went over all this a couple of weeks ago, right? The process that we're going through, and now we're at the point of awarding the contract to an engineer.
Good evening. Obviously, my name is Jonathan Cherns. I'm an employee of the Dutchess County Water and Wastewater Authority. And the Dutchess County Water and Wastewater Authority with the town underwent a review of all of the proposals that were received, looking at the merits of each firm, their ability to do the task to a particular standard within a schedule, that they proposed a certain price within the range of the grant, whether or not we felt we could negotiate to reach the correct location, and ultimately that the firm had the staff capability to complete the work, the staff experience, and the firm experience to complete it. And we were looking for a fresh look from outside of the community to really understand what is the nature of these systems and moving forward, so that we could build a proper capital plan for 1 year as well as 5 years, and then looking forward. And ultimately, whether or not the Water Authority, the Dutchess County Water and Wastewater Authority, or the town of Hyde Park continues forward with these systems, the documents that are created through this process will help us to understand these systems, both from engineering, legal, and financial, so that we can find the best way forward and correct any deficiencies that may exist.
So the process, so with Thursday, is that soon enough? Because that's when I come in next, and I just want to take a look at these, because
To sign them?
I had shifted around some of the documents, and do you want me to send those back to you, or do you want to send it directly to the engineering firm?
What I've provided to you is what I believe is complete and correct, with all documents included.
Okay.
All addendum schedules, supplemental conditions, and so on.
Okay.
And I provided them in triplicate with sign here pages.
Okay.
So
why don't I
they should be
leave-
complete. I would say that if you are comfortable with them, you should move forward.
Okay, great. All right.
Great.
And it was basically the lowest responsible bid,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we got a number of quotes, and we chose the one that was qualified and
I'm gonna
the
leave
best
these
price.
here.
It was not necessarily the main reason for the selection,
Mhm.
but it definitely was a benefit. We felt all around it was a good
But I need a set
good
for
choice.
myself, so when you-
Well, it sounded like you really investigated who worked there and what their experiences were and what the firm as a whole had to offer us, so.
That is correct.
I think just whatever the price, it made the most sense.
Thanks for your help.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Jonathan?
Did we vote?
Not yet.
No.
No,
I interrupted and made him
No,
come
no.
up.
it's okay. Give a sec.
So do we have a second? And
Second.
all in,
We're good.
oh, okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Whose turn is it?
Yours.
Mine. Resolution 210-7 of 2014, resolution authorizing the supervisor to execute a contribution agreement with Dutchess County Water and Wastewater Authority.
Okay, so this is just us accepting the contribution from the DCWWA for the $5,000 to help defray our 10% match on each one of the water districts.
I'll second it.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 210-8 of 2014, resolution for 2013 reserve for encumbrances. And I believe TC sent us all the
Yeah.
breakdown on this.
Yeah.
Did you guys want to talk about that at all, or did you see the email that
No,
TC
just-
sent?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's fine.
all righty.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So second.
And all in favor?
Aye. Resolution 210-9 of 2014, resolution authorizing hawking and peddling license for the operation of Carol's Hot Dogs.
Second?
And this is done at no charge again, right? Is that?
Yeah.
That's correct, yep.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Although TC wants us to make sure that our user fees are up to date.
Well, I think it's a veteran.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a
Yeah.
veteran, that's, yeah. that's-
Yeah.
Resolution 21010, resolution accepting donation from Charlotte Cunene Hackett Charitable Trust for repair work at Hackett House.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye. Again, thank you for all the hard work in that, everyone.
Yeah.
Resolution 210-11 of 2014, resolution accepting donation from Hyde Park Skate Committee.
So this just came our way too, $1,000 from the skate committee, and they wanted to donate it for a future sidewalk project to benefit the youth of Hyde Park.
Great.
So do we have a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 210-12 of 2014, resolution renewing the investment policy for the town of Hyde Park.
And do we have a second?
Second.
And
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 210-13 of 2014, resolution authorizing new Town of Hyde Park petty cash funds.
And a second?
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 21014, resolution renewing the revised procurement policy.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 210-15 of 2014, resolution appointing Stuart Waxman LLP as Labor and Employment Counsel to the town of Hyde Park.
And a second?
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
And
Resolution 210-16 of 2014, Town of Hyde Park budget revisions for the period of December 2013. Budget revision number 2013-12, and the detailed schedule is below.
And TC said he's closing the books, so he's very close to closing the books, so.
Correct.
Actually, we'll have the auditors in town hall next week or so, moving right along.
That's great. Did we vote?
No, we have
Oh,
the
sorry.
second. We have the second. Hold on.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 210-17 of 2014, resolution increasing the salary of the Recreation and Parks Director.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 210-18, resolution approving cost of living raises for non-union positions.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Just feel like we need a little explanation, and we're basically, we've settled with 2 out of the 3 unions for cost of living increases, 1.5% for 2013 and 1.75 for 2014. And what we've done here is just try to make it fair by giving the people who work side by side the same pay increases, the same cost of living increases as the unions received. The non-union people did not receive any
4 years.
any increases in 4 years. And so we're not making it totally fair, but we're doing our best to do that. So that's what these are.
And we're also undertaking the study of those positions,
The
right?
9
with the
positions, yep. and-
Consultant to find out what fair salaries would be for those positions.
For the 9 positions, and they'll be coming to Town Hall next week, and they start the process by meeting with all the employees that are involved and explaining the process and giving them questionnaires about their job duties, their responsibilities, their educations, and what they'll ultimately end up with is a range of salaries that they and expect the median to be for the average employee, and then so depending on length of service or extraordinary abilities or these other variables, they can be either upper or lower in the range. So they're very professional, very highly regarded, and very informed groups doing it. So it's an attempt really for us to address a lot of the inequities that have existed in terms of salaries in Town Hall, and we want to make sure that we keep the good people that we have, that we've invested a lot of time and training in. So this is part of that process.
And equally, they invested a lot of time in Hyde Park too, so I'm happy that we're able to at least give them a little bit here, so.
Okay, so did we vote? Did we have a second?
Did we vote on that yet, Donna? Well, let's
Okay,
vote.
do we have a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 210-19 of 2014, resolution approving non-union wage rates for the town of Hyde Park part-time positions.
So again, it's the same thing. We're just doing it in 2 separate resolutions. So,
Second.
and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 210-20 of 2014, resolution authorizing the Justice Court Clerk, Michelle Brandt, to carry over accrued vacation time.
And a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye. Resolution 21021 of 2014, resolution authorizing the supervisor to apply for Hudson River Valley National Heritage Grant under the 2014 Heritage Development Grant Program.
Second.
And this is inspired by the town historian who came to me the other day and would like to apply for this. And it would be to do a walking tour map and brochure of the historic area in Hyde Park.
That'd be great.
So really excited about that. So do we have a second?
We did.
And, oh, sorry, and all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 21022, resolution acknowledgement the recent deaths of Ava Clark and Edward Blodgett.
Second.
And basically, we just wanted to acknowledge these 2 wonderful people who recently passed away. Ava Clark was the town historian, and Ed Blodgett was the gentleman who started concerts in the park and a member of the Lions Club who just did wonderful things for Hyde Park. So we just wanted to acknowledge them. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 210-23 of 2014, resolution authorizing the attorney to the town to execute a consent judgment in settlement of the tax certiorari proceedings entitled PLT Associates LLC v. Town of Hyde Park et al.
And a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So with that, can I have a motion to dismiss?
Motion to adjourn.
No public.
So moved.
In a second? All in favor?
Aye. But I did have the reason.
All
Yeah.
right, so Warren, I have a
I
lot
don't
of
have to
stuff.
bring them because they're here.
Yeah, they're all here.
But I was reading it.
So I'll
Yeah,
have
yeah.